Sometimes winning is one of the most dangerous things in trading, for real. If you've ever found yourself wiping out a whole week's worth of profits in one day from one emotional mistake, like you can be profitable consistent from Monday to Thursday, and then Friday is like you just fuck it all up. And then now your whole weekend's ruined. You're ruminating on how you can make this dumb mistake, how you can just blow all the profits and all the hard work that you've just done. And it's so annoying, it's so frustrating, man, because it takes a lot to be disciplined, to be consistent. It takes a lot to stick to your rules. The trading in of itself is you're literally fighting against yourself, your own human tendencies, the way we're wired as humans, in order to be successful. So you do all of that, and then bam, in one emotional decision, one trade, all of it's just gone away. And I've seen this in so many traders, especially profitable traders, traders that consistently make money, often end up having these big losses and these big blips on the equity curves. And I think I found the reason why, like the root problem of why your winning streaks and why, being consistent, doing well and winning, like the reason why that is actually dangerous and why it causes so much problems. The reason why you end up blowing all your profits and all your hard work in one emotional decision is because of overconfidence. And that overconfidence, okay, so it's overconfidence. So where does that come from? Well, overconfidence is a sign that your identity and your self worth is tied to the outcomes, is tied to your performance, your most recent results. And that's a recipe for disaster because, on the other hand, as well, when you're in drawdowns or losing streaks, by having your identity tied to your P&L, to your outcomes, then that often leads to, feeling terrible during drawdowns, feeling mentally and emotionally distraught, feeling broken, feeling like worthless. So it's really important that your identity isn't tied to your performance. But going back to overconfidence, the reason why it's so dangerous and the reason why it causes the tilt, it causes these big losses is because it often leads to complacency. It leads to, them times where cool, just been winning for weeks or months, and then all of a sudden it's like you no longer need to take you no longer need to take your pre-training preparation seriously. You no longer need to mark up your charts. You no longer need to even analyze the markets like that because you're so biased, you're so tunnel visioned. Maybe price has been moving down. Maybe it's been bearish for like a couple months, so you've just been shorting and winning and shorting and winning. So all of a sudden now you just become tunnel vision and laser focused on shorting. You can't even see that the market conditions are shifting. So the overconfidence usually leads to the complacency. The complacency leads to lapses in discipline, lapses in focus, and then that's what leads to the over leveraging. That's what leads to the forcing trades because you've been shorting for so long. The moment the market starts moving up, you're continuing to short. Maybe you take that first loss, cool, but then the second one, price is still moving up, but you're still trying to short because you're so tunnel visioned, you're so attached to your bias, so attached to your trade ideas that you can't even see the other side. So usually I've seen a lot of great traders as well that make 6 figures plus from trading. They struggle with this problem of overconfidence causing big losses. You know, so it's really imperative that we're able to detach our identity and detach our self worth from trading. And the way that I found to do that is through meditation. And the meditation I'm talking about is where you don't do anything. You don't analyze your thoughts. You just allow things to conjure up and process. The reason why meditation is so good for detaching your identity and your self-worth from your performance, and why it's so good for keeping the overconfidence at bay and keeping neutral, is because all them times you meditate and you detach from your thoughts, you realize you are not your thoughts. Every time you detach from your emotions, you realize You're not your emotions. Every time you detach from your body, you realize you're not your body. At a deeper spiritual level, you know that you are the energy inside of the vehicle that you're moving. So whilst you're meditating and you come to all those three awarenesses, that you can observe your thoughts, observe your emotions, observe your body, and even at times you can observe your soul, your spirit, which is crazy to even say, then you realize if I'm none of those things, then I'm not just a trader. Like it's very hard to just be a trader or to identify as a trader when you don't even identify with your body, with your thoughts, with your emotions, even your spirit at times. When you get to this level of awareness, this radical awareness, you'll even be able to be aware of your spirit, which is like a feeling, sensation, intuition, synchronicities, all these things. So that's the greatest way that I can recommend detaching from outcomes, detaching from results, and not allowing overconfidence to ruin your account, to ruin your progress, to cause a massive blip in your equity curve. By meditating daily, like essentially becoming nothing. That's why I describe meditation as, where you enter this void of darkness, of nothingness. Like there's no thoughts, there's no emotions, there's no feelings. You lose touch with your body, all of that. That's the best way I've found to not getting attached to wins, not getting attached to losses, not getting attached to trades in general. Like reaching this ultimate level of detachment in trading completely. Like you don't care about outcomes, you just focus on the process. That's a whole different video, but really detaching from trades, letting go, accepting outcomes, just being detached, especially with overconfidence. Meditation, I found, has been one of the greatest ways to do that, because you're literally detaching from your entire way of being, your entire existence. You're detaching from every time you enter the void, every time you enter nothingness. So maybe that's something you can try, man. It's part of my trading preparation before I get into the charts. Every single time, before I even turn on my PC, my monitor, before I even open up TradingView, I become nothing through meditation. You can do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. I just become nothing. And then once I've gotten to like, a good point where it's like there's no thoughts, no emotion, no feelings, and I feel like these pleasurable sensations, that's when I start to, visualize the correct behaviors, visualize catching myself being overconfident. That's something you can do as well. You can visualize yourself taking a couple wins, catching yourself feeling overconfident and recalibrating. You can do the things like that. But really the main point of this video was overconfidence, because I see it's a big problem for especially profitable traders, consistent traders. It's so easy for you to win. Like winning is a normal thing for you, and then it gets to a point where you just become complacent, and then you slip up. Discipline slips up here and there. You may not take your training preparation seriously, and then you end up, taking one loss, and then your ego now gets involved because you just messed up your winning streak. Now you want to get that back, so you revenge trading, forcing trades, all of that, man. Going on tilt, having a bigger losing day than your strategy shows you. Your rules are going out the window. Like as you can, like this is usually the cycle and the chain of events, how it happens. So what you have to do to reverse engineer that is to go to the start. What's causing this? It's the overconfidence. What causes the overconfidence? Having your identity and your self-worth tied to your trading performance. So the solution to that is detaching your identity from trading, detaching your self-worth from trading. How do you do that? Through meditation. Another way you can do that as well is by finding fulfillment and finding things outside of trading. Because I know a lot of you, if you're full time just trading, it's like that's the only thing you do. So it's easy for your identity to be tied to it. It's easy for you to feel like shit during drawdowns. It's easy for you to feel worthless after you've just taken a big loss. It's easy for you to have an inflated ego after you've just won 3 trades, 4 trades, 10 trades in a row, because it's the only thing you do. So the solution to that, find more things to do outside of trading, man. I'm sure you have many gifts, talents, capabilities, things you're interested in, passions outside of the markets that you can do and getting involved with, man. So I highly recommend doing that. But those are two solutions I found to detaching from trading, detaching from results so that you don't allow overconfidence to hijack your decision making and to allow you to slip up. Of course, these things will happen here and there, but I've seen commonly, especially with profitable traders that are trading full time, that overconfidence seems to be like a big issue. So I hope this video helps, man. Just staying neutral, staying detached, staying focused on the process, and always keeping this level of self awareness so that you can catch yourself when you feel overconfident. You can catch yourself slipping up in discipline and recalibrate and recenter yourself so that you're back in the optimal state of mind, state of being to trade the best, to trade how you know you should be trading.